The bottom of this river is really unpredictable. You'll be stepping and be knee deep one moment and the next chest or overhead. Gotta proceed pretty slow. I don't think that's a rock. I don't know which end's the bitey end though.
Join me, Myke Clarkson, on the first ever Herp Care Adventure Series as we study the wild relatives of our captive bred pets in order to better understand how to care for them. Let's go beyond the glass.
We're here on the Chiliwang River, ready to get wet. We're looking for an animal that loves habitat like this. The big rocky banks, the flowing water, and the tall trees, this is the ideal habitat for the water monitor. So let's go get one. As with almost any waterway in West Java, you will still see some litter and pollution in this river, as well as an abundance of invasive species, even red ear sliders. Now, it might all seem like minute, harmless stuff, but it actually has a huge impact on the environment here, which is why I can't stress enough. It's great to be a pet owner, but you have to be a responsible pet owner. Letting your animals go in the wild is bad not only for your animals, but also those creatures who call this place home. The bottom of this river is really unpredictable. You'll be stepping and be knee deep one moment and the next chest or overhead. Gotta proceed pretty slow.
A lot of the reptiles basking at the edge of the river have now jumped in. This is just their natural defense. Luckily, a local friend showed us a trick. If you poke the bottom with a stick, you can tell the difference between a rock and one of our target reptiles.
I don't think that's a rock. I don't know which end's the bitey end though. Check it out, it's not a rock at all. It's a black marsh terrapin. So the readings we get for the monitor will work for this guy since they share the same basking spots. Of course, for the terrapin, you'd want the tank to have a majority of water with a smaller basking site, whereas with the water monitor, it'd probably be the other way around.
A turtle will pollute its own water much faster than most fish species, so make sure you have a heavy-duty turtle or aquatic reptile filter in your enclosure. You don't want your turtles living in water like the Chiliwang.
They're not doing well here because red ear sliders reproduce so much faster than they do. These guys only reproduce once a year, and they only lay 2 eggs. What a cool little dude. When I reached down, I wasn't sure if it was one of these guys or a red ear slider, but I'm glad it was him. Water monitor neighbor, the black marsh turtle. I'm gonna let him go on his way now. All right, man. I have to approach these bends very carefully because there's openings where the sun can beam down and give a perfect basking spot for a monitor. The fact that you really find the monitors in their natural basking spots tells me they definitely need them in captivity. It's a must, a monitor must. Water monitors, check it out. They're such an incredible predator for a lizard. Look at the tail. They've got these great paddle tails. That thick keel helps them swim because they're not only adapted to swim in the water and bolt across the ground, they can also climb trees. Now, this is a young one. They get much bigger than this. He's actually pretty chill right now, and I think it's because of the cloud cover. He's not getting that normal UVA, UVB charge because he's not getting the full sunlight. And he was also just coming from the water. Normally, they're a lot more crazy than this. So, water monitor, not a beginner's pet. They need water. They obviously need enough water to swim. They also need a big climbing area. And thirdly, the basking sites. Like we talked about earlier, they need that basking site to digest and get amped up. So you need 3 different micro sections in the same enclosure. They need a lot of room and they get really big. I'm gonna take some measurements. and let this guy on his way. Look at him go. Just plain possum. So these readings will apply to any animal you'd find in this river system here.
We got 3.4 today, but we went back another day when there was less clouds and got a UVI reading of 11 on these banks. That's how nature is. Variable.
Pretty cool experience. You gotta love the varanus. They're such intelligent animals. I wish the habitat wasn't the way it is, but I'm glad to see that some of the animals are still thriving despite the conditions.
Reptile species that live in rivers must be highly adaptable in order to survive on both land and water. As we saw in the Chilliwung, the encroachment of mankind will test the limits of their adaptability.